next person I'd like to bring to this podium has really made impact truly in 24 days. He's one heck of a chairman. I call him my chairman. And he's really worked tirelessly much longer before he became the chamber chairperson. When I was a new fledgling young president and the chamber was really coming out of dormancy, I needed some help to put some dollars in the account. And so I needed to go on my very first big tour. And the first person who decided to come with me, suit and tie, preferably bow tie, was then Randall Bryant. He's a consultant moving through downtown, making things happen. And most people don't know that he's about to do what he's about to do because he looks so young. But let me tell you, he's been here before. I don't know if he was a fly on the wall in the Cliff Club or if he was something like the White House, but Randall knows a thing or two. So before we bring him up, I also want to acknowledge our Mayor Pro Tem who just walked in. Y'all give a shout out to the Mayor Pro Tem. And now, the next voice you will hear after this A and B selection will be that of our chairman, Randall Bryant.
Thank you, President Blair. And good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It gives me great honor to stand before you all today on this historic day. And even though it's a little cold and wet outside, Ms. Ragsdale, it's always sunny in South Dallas. 47 days ago, during my chairman's address, I proclaimed that this building would come down in Q1. So I first want to say, promises made, promises delivered. This promise, of course, was not kept single-handedly and could not be possible without the commitment of our entire board of directors. So if anyone, again, is a board of directors, I just want to acknowledge you all here today. Also, during my chairman's address, I acknowledge that I stand on what you all said, giants, but I proclaim titans. And Black business leaders that have led our organization as former chairmen and chairwomen up to this very moment that we're on the precipice of. Now, at the time, I did not know that I would actually go on to become the 45th chairman of our board. And we know sometimes leadership associated with the number 45 doesn't always turn out too well. But I was talking about Michael Jordan returning the bag from retirement. But in all seriousness, let me call off the names because they're so important to us today. Of the former chairmen and chairwomen that have served our organization for 96 years. E.J. Crawford, A.A. Bracewell, R.Q. Mason, M.M. McGowie, Dr. W.K. Flowers, Dr. L.G. Pinkston, Dr. R.T. Hamilton, T.W. Pratt, R.A. Hester, Clarence Starks, J.S. Jones, Dr. Edgar A. Ward, J.H. Walker, Samuel Hudson Jr., C.B. Bunkley, Price Hughes, Edward Reed, James Smith, J.H. Glenn, the first appointed Black council member, C.A. Galloway, Joe Curvin, James Bailey, Marcus Ranger, Marvin Robinson, the man whose leadership changed our name from the Dallas Negro Chamber of Commerce to the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce, Judge H. Ron White, Clyde Clark III, Ernest Haywood, Billy Allen, our first woman to serve as chairwoman, the great Honorable Helen Giddings, Al Heron, John Dodd, Malcolm Robinson, our Texas Association of African American Chambers of Commerce president and the chairman of the U.S. Black Chambers of Commerce, Charles O'Neill, Samuel Brown Sr., Jerry Haynes, Joe Walker, Hugh Harrison, Wesley Ratcliffe, Tammy Demery, Ron Hay, Sonia Hoskins, Matt Houston, Darren James, and Jimmy Gaston. Almost 6 years ago, now going on 7, the leadership at the time made a decision to leave the structure at 2838 and move to this King Center due to the building's deterioration. And as we stand here today, almost 7 years later, I'm reminded of a story in the Bible of Joshua and the Wall of Jericho. And more than just the conclusion of this biblical account, with the walls crashing down, as we will soon witness, there are additional historical and symmetrical symmetries that we lead up to this moment as well. That's why I read those names to you earlier of our previous chairs. Because just as Joshua chapter 1 called him to lead his people across the Jordan River into the promised land after the death of Moses, God called the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce. And at the time, it was the Dallas Negro Chamber of Commerce in 1926 to serve as an advocate for the creation, growth, and general welfare of black businesses across North Texas, which is still our mission here today. Almost 100 years ago, when nowhere else in this country was there a Black Chamber of Commerce, our nation needed some fearless leaders and individuals to form the first organization that would help usher black people and black businesses hardly a half century after the abolishment of slavery into economic wealth and prosperity right here in Dallas, Texas. Then in Joshua chapter 3, before Joshua and the Israelites arrived in Jericho, they had to cross the Jordan River, which at the time, due to the harvest season, was full to the banks. Remember, I told you almost 7 years ago, we had to leave that building, the structure that stood as our home for